Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. Poland is better than its image, said Foreign Minister Jerzy Kwieciński at the World Economic Forum in Davos, highlighting a striking gap between perception and reality. Now, while only 16% of Poles recognize their country as a top 20 economy, the nation is on track to reach a GDP of $1.04 trillion and join the G20 as a guest nation this year. And joining us now to unpack how Poland is navigating this economic acceleration and boosting its global reputation is Jerzy Kwieciński, Vice President of the Polish Chamber of Commerce and former Minister of Finance and Investment. Good to have you on TVP World. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
I want to begin with that quote from Foreign Minister Kwieciński, that perception, and also these numbers. We also look at recent numbers of industrial capacity and production, 7.3% in December of 2025, really well over double. I want to just get your sense of where is this coming from and how sustainable is this?
These are the very good results at the end of the year, no doubt about that. That concerns not only the industrial output, but also the construction sector. That's been expected, not only by me, by many experts since many quarters, that at the end we've got it. But the problem is that we would like to see these figures sustained. That means that they are not only occasional, like it was the data for December, but that they continue through the whole 2026 year, and we have a chance to do that. Why? Because our economy, our country, will be fueled in the coming quarters with European funds. Also because the situation in Germany is getting better and better, economic situation, and for Poland that is extremely important because almost 30% of our exports go to Germany. So we are very much dependent on the economic situation in Germany. So the prospects are really very good for that, which means that at the end we should see the investments growing, both the public investments fueled by EU funds, but also followed by private investments. Mm-hmm. In fact, many experts, including myself, we expected that to happen earlier. I thought that we could have seen such a situation as we are beginning to see now at the end of the 2024 year. So once the EU funds were released, because they were blocked for long by Brussels, that we could see acceleration of our GDP growth, our industrial output, and our investments. Mm-hmm. So the whole process for Poland is delayed, but at the end, I guess we can have it. And we should also note that what I mentioned before, that we would like to see these figures sustained. So not only for December, but for January, February, and the following months. These are winter months, and maybe the figures for January will not be so good because, as I can see, we have a real winter in January with snow, with freezing, so that may hamper the output of the construction sector. Right. But I would say, in general, that the prospects are pretty good.
All right, prospects are good. I want to tie in more into what you've just said there, praising the construction, about sustaining this momentum. I mean, that's quite a take if we're looking at this 7.3%. But nevertheless, where do you see also, let's say, some of the pitfalls, some of the dangers? If we're looking, you mentioned the automotive industry. If we're looking recently, there were some layoffs in Tychy. The car manufacturing there has taken a bit of a hit. If we're looking also at more and more Chinese EVs being being imported as well, not just into Europe, but into Poland in particular. Where do you see the greatest challenge to sustaining that kind of growth that we've seen from the past months and really years, really?
As you noted, we are joining now the club of G20, 20 biggest economies in the world, and Poland is really very open to the international trade, to international markets. So our economy is really now very, very competitive. Maybe I will mention one anecdote. One of the CEOs of big international companies mentioned to me, recently, how are you doing that? You are so strong, you have such a vibrant, such a resilient economy without having a real international trademark and without having a number of unicorns. And I think the answer is simple. Our economy is very diversified. Our economy relies on very, very strong entrepreneurship. So we have very, very good businessmen who can adapt very quickly to the external conditions. Which condition you're asking for that for me is critical. I mean, we should be on the path of economic development based on innovation and based on seeking new markets. And for that, we need a very good national strategy. Mm-hmm. And what is lacking, in my opinion, is a good strategy, economic strategy for our state. I know that the government is working on that. In fact, that strategy has been expected since more than 2 years since the government changed. But this strategy is still not in place, because it's difficult to say that so-called 100 concrete measure program can be called as a strategy. Besides, it's still not implemented, or that other programs on which government was working, like, for example, 38 priorities of the Council of Ministers, that this is a program. Mm-hmm. The real program, in my opinion, which can be considered as a program for the government, is the one which is being prepared by Minister Kwiecińska, the medium-term strategy for Poland. And it's very important for the business, for economy, to show what are the priorities, what are the goals of the country, what we are gonna achieve, how are we going to achieve that. So such a strategy for the country is really very important for our businessmen, also for our international partners.
All right. Speaking of strategy, you mentioned it there. I want to draw on a bit of your experience as well. I mean, you were a minister in the past, and if we're looking at the Law and Justice government in the past years, I mean, you've had also that time to be part of the older strategy. So I'm just curious, also, I want to tie it in with Davos, and we've heard a lot of, focus on Davos this year was very much about Donald Trump and Greenland geopolitics. But if we go back to Davos when you were still minister and now, how have those perceptions of Poland changed? What is, in your mind, now going to be the focus? What should Poland really focus on moving its economy forward?
I think that our focus now is first of all on security. Security in the broad sense, or general, security, but also energy security, food security. All these factors which, say, 10 years ago were not so important as they are now. And it's interesting that some of these new features, like, for example, the defense sector, are at the top now. We know that this can be one of the engines of Europe's growth in the coming years. Why? because all the NATO member states, including Poland, are increasing their spendings on defense sector. And these are not the spendings which fuel this economic growth, spendings on defense sector, but defense sector is extremely innovative. The innovations from this sector can not only be used for the defense itself, but can be used for other parts of economy. This is so-called dual use. So I would say we'll be seeing not only in Poland but in coming quarters, coming years, the economic development of Europe, just fueled by this spending on the defense sector.
Right.
But we should be also very carefully looking what's going in the world, especially what's going with AI revolution, as it is called, artificial intelligence revolution. Countries like United States, but not only United States, but China and others, are spending huge money now on this sector, not only on infrastructure, but also on solution. How to use artificial intelligence in increasing productivity, increasing effectiveness of economies. And this is especially for Europe a very big challenge, because we in Europe, we are really lagging behind countries like United States, but not only United States, also some of Asian giants. So there are a lot of challenges ahead, not only the ones, as I mentioned, related to security.
I want to jump in and briefly on this one. Yeah, because you mentioned an interesting point with AI and technology. I mean, that it needs an incredible amount of data centers of energy. Just quickly before we close, one line about how Poland's focus on nuclear energy, offshore wind, how critical is that to industrial competitiveness? Just quickly before we close.
No, that is extremely important. And when we were talking about strategy, and this is what I was willing to to refer to, the state, the government should say, what is important, what is priority for us, and energy sector, its development is critical, not only because of the consumption. Physical consumption, but also about using the energy for the development of AI sector, and that will not happen without new powers in the energy sector. And for future, the new trigger point will be the nuclear sector. Since some years, Poland started preparing for entering into the nuclear energy sector. That was stopped, I don't know why, but somehow it was stopped for quite a number of time, and I'm glad to hear that this project are now coming back.
Yeah, and those are kind of projects that have been also in the strategy for some time. But I think ultimately here it's about a diversified economy which needs strategy, as you said. So look, fascinating insights. Thank you so much. Really interesting stuff. Mr. Jerzy Kwieciński here, the Vice President, Polish Chamber of Commerce and former Minister of Finance and Investment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All the best for the day.
And thank you for watching World Talks. But stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.